Let's talk a little bit about flow accumulation. This is our second tool in determining our watershed, the shape of our watershed, also determining where rivers and streams are. So used in our hydraulic modeling tools. It's also part of our terrain analysis tool set because we're deriving our data from our existing DEM. We've already figured out which direction all these cells are flowing based on the results from the flow direction tool that we've pretended to run here. And we are looking to figure out how many cells flow into each cell. So when we look at flow accumulation, it's a total number of cells that are draining into any given cell. Any cell where the flow starts has a value of 0, like this one in red that I've had circled. There are no cells that are flowing into this top edge of the map, top edge of the raster surface. So we can code, or we can give this as a value of 0 because there are no cells flowing into it. If we move one to the right, same thing here. There are no cells flowing in directly into this cell. So we can code this or give this one a value of 0. And I'm going to surprise you, but this continues across the top row of our raster cells. None of these have flows going into them. They're all pouring out. When we get to our second row, it gets a little bit more complicated. So let's start here at 1, 0, the one that I'm outlining in green. Here, we now see that we have 2 cells that flow into this cell. So this cell is flowing in right from straight above it, and this one flowing in from the northeast. So this cell, since it has 2 cells that are accumulating or flowing into it, we can give it the value of 2. When we move to the right, we're back to 0 because this cell has no cells flowing into it. Same again, when we move one to the right, no cells flowing into it. But here is where you can see again, we've got 1 cell flowing into it from here and 1 cell flowing into it from here, from the northwest. So we can give this a value of 2. So accumulating 2 cells. Over on our last cell in this first row, in the 4th column, we have just the 1 cell flowing into it, right? Yeah. Give that a good old 1. Let's go to our third row, our second row. We'll start here on the left again. Now here, remember, you have this 1 cell flowing directly down from the north into it, but this cell has a value of 2. So you actually have 2 plus 1, or one cell plus the additional 2 that have accumulated there. So here we're going to give it the value of 3. If we move one column to the right, we are back down to 0 as no cells are flowing directly or accumulating into this cell. Here again, things are getting a bit more interesting. We see that we have 1, 2 cells flowing in, so this would accumulate a 2. Move one over to the right, 1 column to the right. We have just our cell flowing down directly from the north. So again, that cell has a value of 2, and then you add in that cell. So that's where it gives us that value of 3. And lastly, we have the one flowing in from the north to this cell. This has a value of already accumulating 1 cell plus itself, so 2 over here. We can go to our last row. Go back to red. And even though we don't have direction on this cell, we can count our 3 directly down from the north, 3 plus that cell, so 4. Moving 1 cell to the right, we have nothing is flowing into this cell. Yeah, nothing is flowing into this cell. So 0 here, things are going to get more complicated. So we have this cell, so it's a 1. This cell here has a value of 2 plus itself, so that's a 3. So you have 3 plus 1, we get a value of 4 in this cell. And last but not least, our cell here that has 3. So we've got 1 coming in this direction from the north. We've got values coming in from the northeast. We have a 2 plus, so this 2 plus value, so it's 3, and then 3 plus the 4, plus this cell is 4. So 3 plus 4 is 7. So this would be classified as 7. So in the end, what this allows you to do is start to see where water is accumulating. So we can start to see where river flow lines are. So your output on this, do I have it on the next slide? Yeah. Your output, when the computer does it, you'll get coded, well, it will classify cells over a certain value in the white or a lighter shade of gray as having high accumulation. And any of those cells where a lot of water is being accumulated is where you can start to trace some of your river branches. And there are things we can do to make these more prominent, to see more of the tributaries, but this will give you an idea of where all that water is flowing from and accumulating to. So that's our second step in our watershed analysis.